The German settlement of Schäfer, Russian name Lipovka, was founded on August 1, 1766. Private entrepreneurs, the Swiss Piet and the Frenchman Leroy, looked after recruiting settlers and establishing the settlement. The village was named after the first village headman, Johannes Schäfer, a 36-year-old craftsman from Hesse. Schäfer and his young wife relocated to the Trans-Volga region. However, this journey to Russia was by no means a sunny honeymoon. Besides the long and exhausting journey, the settlers faced further trials. In the early years, the settlement was subject to raids by steppe nomads, and later it was destroyed by Yemelian Pugachev's warriors. Repeated pleas to Empress Catherine II were finally heeded. To protect the German colonists, the government dispatched regular troops and life gradually became peaceful. However, the hardships for the settlers were not over. The land around Schäfer proved to be unsuitable for agriculture due to the predominance of sand. The fertile soils were not sufficient for all settlers, and some Lipovka residents left the area to establish new settlements. Nevertheless, Lipovka grew and developed. In 1859, the village had 110 farmsteads, and by 1910 it had doubled to 220. Some residents engaged in the production of wool hats, which quickly became popular along the Volga. Most of Schäfer's residents were Lutherans. In the early years after the village's founding, the colonists held services in the school and community center. The wooden church was built in 1817 in the central square. It is an interesting fact that, according to the clergy's instruction, confirmed in the first half of the 19th century, the clergy had to engage in agriculture, plant mulberry trees and breed silkworms, in addition to church services and maintaining the birth registry. The church, built in 1905 from red brick, became a true pride of Schäfer. When choosing the architectural design, the residents of Schäfer preferred drawings depicting an elegant church building in the style of historicism, an eclectic direction in architecture. During the church's construction, builders used various historical style elements, including Neo-Gothic, Neo-Renaissance, Neo-Baroque and Neo-Byzantine. Ortho-Gothic predominated. The church differed from other German churches along the Volga in its pointing arches, soaring towers, facade decor and abundance of tall repeating windows. This church was one of the largest in the entire German Volga region. It had pews for more than 4,000 worshippers, despite Schäfer's population being almost half that size. The wooden bell tower, the school and the community center, and the sexton's and schoolmaster's house had a stylistic and functional connection to the church. These buildings still characterize the village center today. With the advent of Soviet power, the Lutheran Church experienced a split. The last pastor of the Schäfer parish, Wilhelm Müller, emigrated from Russia in 1921. In 1925, the congregation, lacking its own pastor, came under the influence of sexton Jakob Fritzler, who declared himself bishop and became the founder of the Free Lutheran Church in the Volga region. The common parishioners did not make a significant distinction between the church factions. They were concerned only with the opportunity to attend services. However, the Soviet authorities soon deprived the faithful of this opportunity. On April 4, 1935, the Commission for Cult Affairs of the Central Executive Committee of the Autonomous Republic of Volga Germans decided to close the church. And in August 1941, all Germans of the Volga region were deported to Siberia and Kazakhstan. Over the next 80 years, the church was completely looted. Yet, its walls still stand today, astonishing Lipovka visitors with their grandeur. Unfortunately, attempts to remove what remains continue to this day. However, fortunately, these robberies bring no luck to the plunderers. The belief that the stones stolen from the church bring misfortune has become so deeply rooted among the locals that some credulous thieves even returned the stones. A small bell miraculously survived on the church's jacket tower. Although the bell has long ceased to have a clapper, Lipovka resistance tell that at the end of August its mournful sound can be heard on the day of the deportation of Germans from the Volga region. Attempts were made to steal the bell multiple times, but the villagers stood up to protect the relic each time. It gradually became clear it is impossible to preserve the church in pieces. There's only one possibility: the restoration of the cathedral as a whole.
4 года стучу в разные инстанции, еще меценатов для восстановления. Есть отзывы, от общественности, с России, с Германии. Люди готовы помогать, но пока мы вот в таком состоянии.
Nevertheless, the residents look optimistically to the future, hoping that the village will reclaim its former glory as one of the greatest cultural centers of the German Volga region.